Was the future of humanity decided by a single invention, a sudden act of war, or a courageous rebellion? Of course not. But, throughout history, we find moments of triumph and devastation, innovation and destruction. These events didn't just change the past, they shaped the very world we inhabit. Get ready to discover the top 9 moments that changed the course of history. Number 9. The Assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. The Archduke was next in line for the throne of Austria-Hungary. He died on June 28, 1914, along with his wife Sophie, in Sarajevo. Earlier that day, Archduke's car was attacked by a bomb, but he survived. Later on, coincidentally, the Archduke's driver took a wrong turn, and they encountered a man named Gavrilo Princip, who plotted to kill him. He shot Archduke and his wife on the spot. Gavrilo Princip was part of a group called the Black Hand, who wanted their country to be free of Austro-Hungarian rule. This assassination didn't cause World War I, but it worsened the already problematic rivalry between European countries. Austria-Hungary blamed Serbia for the attack and declared war. This set off a chain reaction, pulling Germany, Russia, Britain, France, and even the United States into the war. And everyone knows the aftermath of this event. Number 8. Sputnik Launch. On October 4, 1957, the Soviet Union made history by launching Sputnik, the world's first artificial satellite, into space. This small, shiny sphere was about the size of a beach ball. Soviet scientists and engineers worked tirelessly in a race against the clock, competing against the United States to reach space first. Finally, a powerful rocket soared into the sky, carrying Sputnik into orbit around the Earth. The launch of Sputnik shocked the United States. Americans believed they were the technology leaders, and this unexpected Soviet victory sparked fear and a sense of urgency. It ignited the space race, a period of intense competition between the two superpowers. The US poured resources into science, education, and rocket development to catch up and surpass the Soviets. Sputnik's legacy reaches far beyond the Cold War. It inspired innovation in rocketry, communication, and even weather forecasting as the world's focus shifted towards the potential of space. It inspired generations of scientists, ultimately leading to the first humans landing on the moon. Number 7. The American Revolution. It wasn't a single battle, but a years-long struggle between Britain and its 13 North American colonies. Colonists were fed up with the taxes imposed by British rulers. Protests like the Boston Tea Party turned violent. The first shots were fired in Lexington and Concord in 1775, marking the war's beginning. In 1776, the colonists officially declared their independence from Britain. This bold move, manifested in the Declaration of Independence, was based on the idea that people have the right to govern themselves. George Washington led the poorly equipped Continental Army against the might of the British Empire. However, the colonists had a home field advantage and a fierce drive for freedom. Crucially, they gained support from France. The war's tide turned with a decisive victory at Yorktown in 1781, leading to the British surrender. The American Revolution had a global impact. It proved that colonies could successfully overthrow their distant rulers. This inspired independence movements around the world, particularly in Latin America. It also led to the creation of the United States, which was going to be the superpower of the next century. Number 6. The Holocaust. This was the systematic, state-sponsored annihilation of approximately 6 million Jewish people by Nazi Germany and its collaborators during World War II. This horrific event unfolded in stages. It began with discrimination and persecution, escalating to forced ghettos and finally, mass deportations to concentration and extermination camps, where victims were executed in gas chambers or through horrific means like starvation, disease, and forced labor. The Holocaust wasn't solely about violence. It was a meticulously planned attempt to erase an entire race and their culture. The Nazis targeted other groups too, including Roma, disabled people, and political opponents. This event forever scarred humanity, leaving a legacy of immense loss and grief. It serves as a chilling reminder of the dangers of unchecked hatred, prejudice, and the abuse of power. It also led to the establishment of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, aimed at preventing such atrocities in the future. Number 5. The Great Depression. This was a dark period of economic collapse that began in 1929 and gripped the globe throughout the 1930s. The stock market crash in the United States was a major trigger, but the causes were complex. Overproduction, falling demand for goods, and risky bank practices played a role. Businesses shut down, millions lost their jobs, and families struggled to survive. This led to a ripple effect worldwide as international trade and financial systems broke down. The Great Depression forever changed how governments approached economic regulation and social safety nets, leaving a lasting mark on modern economic policy. Number 4. The September 11th attacks. This event doesn't even need an introduction. A horrific series of coordinated strikes by the terrorist group Al-Qaeda against the United States. Hijackers seized control of 4 commercial airplanes, turning them into devastating weapons. 2 planes crashed into the World Trade Center's Twin Towers in New York City, causing the iconic buildings to collapse. Another struck the Pentagon, the headquarters of the U.S. military. The 4th plane, likely intended for another target in Washington, D.C., crashed in a field in Pennsylvania after passengers bravely fought back against the hijackers. The death toll, nearly 3,000 people, made it the deadliest foreign attack on American soil. These events triggered radical changes in global security, leading to the U.S.-led war on terror and reshaping international relations for decades to come. Number 3. Columbus exploring America. In 1492, Christopher Columbus's journey from Spain across the Atlantic Ocean was a historical moment that was going to change the demographic of the world forever. While he aimed to reach Asia, he instead landed in the Bahamas. This marked a European introduction to the remote land, which they called the New World. Though Columbus wasn't the first European to reach the Americas, his journeys opened the door to centuries of exploration, colonization, and a series of transactions between continents. Undoubtedly, his arrival in the Americas drastically altered the course of history, shaping the world we live in today. Number 2. The harnessing of electricity. Electricity wasn't invented in a single moment. It took centuries of discoveries and experiments to harness it. Early scientists like Benjamin Franklin explored the nature of lightning and static electricity. In the 1800s, pioneers like Michael Faraday and Thomas Edison made breakthroughs. Faraday discovered how to generate electric current, and Edison developed the first long-lasting light bulb. These inventions revolutionized society. Homes and workplaces were no longer bound to daylight hours. Factories could run around the clock, boosting production. Electric lights made streets safer after dark. The rise of electric motors transformed industry and transportation. Later, electricity powered new inventions like radio, television, and computers, further reshaping lives. Number 1. The invention of the Internet. This invention also evolved over decades due to brilliant minds and government projects. In the 1960s, the US created ARPANET, an early network connecting computers so scientists could share information. This was a major leap. Later, scientists like Vint Cerf and Bob Kahn developed key communication rules called TCP/IP. This was like creating a common language for computers to talk to each other across different networks. In the 1980s, more universities and institutions joined, and the term Internet was born. Then, in 1989, Tim Berners-Lee proposed the World Wide Web, a way to browse information on the Internet using links. This made it way more user-friendly. Gradually, the Internet became a new normal, which spread worldwide. The Internet has revolutionized communication, knowledge sharing, and how we work. It's hard to imagine modern life without it. These were just a few of the countless events that molded our world. History is a never-ending source of drama, inspiration, and cautionary tales. What other moments do you think deserve a place on the list? Share your thoughts in the comments.